birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life. And I'm feeling good. Fish in the sea, you know how I feel. River running free, you know how I feel. Blossom on the tree, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life.
For Murph's Magical Creations. Home to custom laser engraving and gifts. This veteran-owned and operated company engraves for all occasions. If you want one of Murph's Magical Creations, call the number on your screen or commission through either Instagram or via email. Murph's Magical Creations, made with love for you.
Starbase 1552 Comics. We sell everything a collector would want. Comics, Funkos, action figures, and so many more. A real American comic book shop. We are online only. Starbase 1552 Comics. Find us on eBay Auctions.
Live from the Lady in Black in Darlington, South Carolina, we bring you the Cruising Classics Next Gen series brought to you by the NASA 360 Racing Network, broadcasting Goat Locker Racing here this evening. My name is Tyler Dittmer. Joining me will be Dean Biggles, Dean Hopton in the booth, as well as our producer here. And we're looking at a 1.3 mile difficult track, asphalt configuration, extremely old surface, bumpy surface, really a single lane racetrack. And these drivers are going to have their handful as the starting grid is about to take shape. We're going to look at your starting lineup. Starting on the pole, that's Brandon Evans. He finished third last week. He's looking to get a win here this week. Eddie Smith will start outside on row number 1. Row number 2 has your last week's winner, Jamie Barkis, and his outside, that's Bryson Myers, who had a good run as well. Row 3 has Tanner Bethea and George Jewel Bethea. Fastest in practice last week. Not the same this week, though. We'll see how he runs through the field. Row number 4 has your Daytona winner, Steve Tucker, finished second last week at Las Vegas, and Kyle Westby to the outside in the 8th position. Row number 5 has Brandon Barrier and Jake Ellingson. Row 6, Robert Barber and Kenneth Bartholomew as we look through the rest of the grid here. Row 7, Alan Marshall with Patrick Drabick. Row number 8, Scott Formosa and Colton Langford. Row number 9 has John Anthony and Joe Hobbs. And then row 10, Dustin Hardy, Chris Sawyer. Rounding out your field, you have Bobby Germain, Doug Ellingson, row 11, and Jamie Perkins in the 23rd spot. 23 drivers taking on the mile and a third circuit here in Darlington, South Carolina. Dean, in here to talk with me now. These drivers, this is a hard track. This is one of the hardest tracks that we go to in NASCAR, in the virtual iRacing world as well. It's slick, it's a handful, it's bumpy, it's old, it wears out tires, and the corners are extremely different. More banking in 1 and 2. It's also a wider arc. 3 and 4, a little bit less banking, and it's a much sharper corner. What are you expecting to see here tonight?
A lot of fun, as you said. Well, the drivers, that's what you get paid the big bucks for, my friend. They paid the big bucks to get it on and done and dusted there. But at the moment, the pace car is going to be getting it on. They're going to get ready to roll. Welcome everybody out there in the chat. We see Spin Kings Motorsports out there, Wesley Ledge there, the Pony Car Garage there, and Dean Gear getting it all up. I love that name, Dean. You're getting yourself in a gear. Well, can Brandon himself, Eddie, and Jamie and George, the likes on the top 2 rows and 3 rows at the moment. 100 laps of this big one here for Darlington.
Yeah, 100 laps, about 130-ish miles for these drivers. They're going to have their hands full of the whole control of the car. We're looking to hopefully see drivers go caution-free. We went caution-free last week at Las Vegas, but this is a much different beast. A lot more difficult. You're going to be on the brakes here in 3 and 4 as Brandon Evan leads the field of green. Fastest in practice. He hits the Geico restart zone. He's off. Green flag. We're underway here. Round number 3 in the Cruising Classics Next Gen Series at Darlington. They're going to be 2x2 for now here on this restart, but they're looking to get single file early and often as you're going to see Brandon Evans jump up to the high side. Eddie Smith, Jamie Barkis, your top 3. And you see now top 5, make it top 10, all single file. That wall comes quickly, though, off turn number 2 as we go to 3 and 4.
Absolutely correct. And if anybody hasn't just recently watched the NASCAR Netflix series that's just been launched today, you will be in for a surprise. I think we were talking about that in the green room before. I'm not much for knowing about NASCAR, but it has been absolutely exciting, even for broadcasting here in the virtual world. And they even spoke about drivers that came from iRacing into NASCAR as these gladiators at the moment are going into the fence at the moment. And that was Kyle, I believe. And is that into Jake? Yes, it was. There's a first caution. Big
Jake
smash
Ellingson,
as well.
Oh, Jake Ellingson doesn't hold the brake and just drifts back up across the track. And that's going to involve, I don't know who that last car there is. That looks to be the 42 of Bobby Germain. Wow, early and often. We said, it was going to be a difficult track coming in here. Darlington is not like Las Vegas. You can't just hold it flat out or just blip the throttle. You were going to be on the brakes. Now, in 1 and 2, you can generally just blip the throttle and get clear. We're going to see here Kyle Westby to his inside. He's got that 24. Steve Tucker, who has a win on the season. He hits the outside wall, comes down. Yeah, he pounds the outside wall off of 2. Jake Ellingson comes down, hits him. They both pound the inside wall, pretty much ending their nights. If you can stick with a 27, I want to see just if it's like natural momentum or like it's just a lack of holding the brake here from the 27.
I think it was Kyle.
Out, yeah,
Kyle.
No, I'm saying while it's spinning out because it came back up across the track. Kyle Westby tears down the fence off of 2, Dean. I wholeheartedly agree. You're going to see the contact here. I think he was nervous with Steve Tucker who was inside, pounds the wall and shoots right into Jake Ellingson. But this is a hard angle. This is like, in the real world, this is a brutal hit. And if you have a direct drive wheel with a lot of force, that is a brutal hit for you as well. But I'm waiting to see. That's just not holding the brake. Just kind of drifts back up. Yeah. If Jake Ellingson holds the brake there, Bobby Germain can probably go through perfectly fine. Now, Bobby Germain probably should have slowed down to a more caution speed considering the caution was already out. But wow, that's an unfortunate end of Bobby Germain's night here as Jake Ellingson doesn't hold the brake, comes back up across the track. And that's 3 cars with terminal damage early on here, Dean. Field's already getting smaller. This track really is too tough to tame. That's
what you're talking about, actually, Tyler, because I didn't realize, like, holding the brake, of course. And I'm used to road courses where, they will come back onto the track at a certain amount of speed, or even like if they spin on a road track, of course, they have to stay. You always say to a driver, just stay where you are. It doesn't matter if you're on the racing line or if you're in the middle of the track or if you're off the racing line. You stay there so you're predictable for cars coming around a corner, because as soon as you're moving and then cars have to try to calculate where you're going, that becomes very difficult. And at that point, as you said, probably better he did hold the brake pedal down. Maybe frustration kicking in, I don't know. But welcome, of course, Ray out there. He has a direct drive wheel. There's reported that for Ray. Welcome, Ray, of course. Welcome back, of course, to your Wednesday night entertainment. You have two of your family members here this evening. One, unfortunately, down into pit road there, Dougie. But you do have... where's the other one? I'm going to try to find that one for a second. But anyway, maybe just the one.
Doug Ellingson is he's there in the 19th position currently. Yeah, direct drive wheel. When
Jake,
you hit the wheel at that, Jake was involved in the accident. When you hit a wall with a direct drive wheel at a certain rate of speed, it can rip the steering wheel out of your hands a little bit if you have it set to a really high setting. So those wheels, I've seen enough videos of drivers not paying attention while they're wrecking, hitting something, or getting hit by another car, and kind of jerking their wrists rather aggressively, and it can cause some issues in the wrist area. But unfortunate end to Who driver's night for sure. It looks like Bobby Germain's back out on the track, but he's going to have some significant damage. Brandon Evans still your leader. He's looking to bring the field back to green. That was a pretty quick yellow. We got to clean up very quickly tonight, Dean. We're going back racing here, waiting for Brandon Evans to get to the Geico restart zone. Try it again. Same song, second verse. Lap 5. We're going to lap 6 here. Brandon Evans takes off like a shot. He's going to get well clear of Eddie Smith. Meanwhile, Jamie Bark is going to be stuck to the inside. Oh, spinning in the back.
That's Patrick.
That's the 07 machine. It's Patrick Drabick. Caution does not fly. No caution yet on the speedway. It looked like it was just a solo car spin, so we're going to stay green flags. We see Patrick there. He's going to try and rebound, but that was a sudden and quick spin there for Patrick here on the opening laps. Brandon, Eddie, Jamie are right now your top 3. Tanner Bethea falls to 4th, and then in 5th position, that's Steve Tucker. He's already up 2 spots, but really the biggest movers far, that's Colton Langford in the 7th position. He's up 9 positions. Also, only one of 2 Toyotas in the field, D.
Yeah, he's got it nailed in at the moment. That capitalizing on other people's misfortunes, unfortunately. But look at this battle brewing up at the moment there. Jamie and Tanner. That's a battle for P3 and P4. You saw some of our cameras. We're going to bring you, trust me, a lot more on that one. I would have actually liked to see the driver's perspective of that one as he went around, but he's still in it, and you got to be in it to win it, especially with down P3 laps to go. Look at the battle. Steve and Tanner here, P4.
Yeah, Tanner just kind of let Steve take it. Steve had a big run, very aggressive move, but it's the smart move. Make moves when you have the fresher tires here, Dean, because this track that you're already seeing is kind of a single lane track, right? You're going to kind of hit a low early apex here in 1 and 2, then you're going to drift up and then hit a late apex coming off of turn number 2. You see now they're going to go up against the fence here. They're going to try and apex out of that corner, and then 3 and 4, they're just trying to find a place to move, but now we're looking back throughout the field. That's the 57 of Robert Barber and his Flow Racing machine. He's running pretty solid right now, sitting in the 10th position. But going back up front, Jamie Bark is under attack from Steve Tucker. That's last week's 1st and 2nd position. And that's really close there from Steve.
He's reminding him, I'm here, of course. This is what racing is all about at the moment. Look at fighting the steering wheel. He's fighting the dirty air, of course. And the air, the draft, is going to pull you into that vehicle at the moment. Steve Tucker, of course, gained 3 positions in the moment. The biggest gainer currently at the moment, almost in the top 10 unless you go back to Colton. But the battle's brewing up. And don't forget, Eddie Smith is putting a bit of pressure, just slowly and easily, well, as easy as you possibly can, on our race leader. But here we are on the inside there. Can he get it done?
Battle for 3rd here as they come off of 3 and 4. That's Steve Tucker, the inside of Jamie Barkus. Last week's 1 and 2. Right now they're 3 and 4. Tucker is going to dive to the inside. He'll clear him entering 1 and 2. Tanner Bethea looking to be the next driver to pounce on Barkus, moving back. Tucker, a very aggressive entry, got it to work on exit. He's opened up a significant gap already for 3rd. He's going to try and chase down your front 2 who are well clear. But it looked like maybe an incident for Colton Langford. He went way down on the back straightaway. He's lost 5 spots already. Make it 6, 7 spots. Colton Langford, yep, he has spun. That is that. Oh, I'm not sure. The correction. That's the 25. Yep, of Colton Langford. He has spun around. I don't know what necessarily happened, but he was falling through the standings. I was looking at my timing and scoring, and that is rough. We're going to see now here exactly what happened to Colton Langford as the gentleman called Random Stuff in the chat. This is iRacing. As you see, Colton Langford gets loose there off of 2, and he tries to gather it up, spins, hits the inside wall on that Toyota Camry DSE. Brand new nose on that thing, Dean. I think it looks pretty sharp, but some people disagree.
Yes, well, it is what it is at the moment. There, you're so early in this race. It's all about using those fast repairs as much as you can as well. Too, not many of those available. Tires, of course, and gasoline. Welcome, of course, everybody at the moment. 53 is a new driver to lead there. Random Stuff's what a game, and lots of chatter out there. We'll get a chance to look at that when I possibly can. Got to push the buttons up here in the broadcast booth, and whether or not Steve Tucker could be pushing the buttons to get past Eddie Smith for P2.
Yeah, Steve Tucker's man on a mission. He's +4 spots now, one of the bigger movers now that Colton Langford's fallen back through the field. Meanwhile, looking throughout the field, 3 drivers currently +5. That's Scott Formosa, Joe Hobbs, and Chris Sawyer. They're back in the 10th, 13th, and 15th positions, respectively. But right now, the battle's up here for the second position between Steve Tucker and Eddie Smith. Ford versus Toyota, and a Chevy still out front, and Brandon Evans. All 3 manufacturers making themselves feel known at the front of the pack at this point in time as we're on lap 15 of 100. It's a long race. They got a lot to handle here, especially at Darlington being as difficult as it is. We've already seen driver mistakes costing people early.
Laps don't go quickly, but laps can go very, very quickly, especially if you don't get so many cautions. At the moment, riding along with Steve Tucker at the moment, you can see the defensive there of Eddie Smith as they're going to go up to the high line, as you have to do here around Darlington. You don't want to dive up on the inside too much. Look at the fighting he's doing the steering wheel. A lot of people would say to me from road courses, oh, it's easy, just turn left, just turn left. No, you get into that dirty air. You get the bumps as well on the track. Not so bumpy here, but you see when he's fighting it currently at the moment and he gets in there, he's going to almost turn that. And you know when you turn that red stripe on that steering wheel, which is the center line, if you crank that basically outside your pitches at this point, then as we go past the lap car, then you know you're in tire trouble.
Yeah, these drivers, especially right now, 1 and 2 should be very little steering input. 3 and 4 is going to have more because it is a oblong shape here at Darlington. Now, as you see, Brandon Evans slowly pulling away from the second and third place driver. Last lap, he ran a 28.85. The other 2 drivers ran 28.89. So, bit of a gap formed between first, second, and third. But meanwhile, we're looking at George Jewell. He just got around Kenneth Bartholomew for position. These drivers mixing up, correction. That would have been Bryson Myers getting around George Jewell for position. Bryson Myers in that all-white scheme. He's now trying to catch up to Tanner Bethea and Jamie Barkas here, trying to put himself inside the top 5, but he gets loose off the corner there off of 2.
The action happening. Check out your track map at the moment. Every drivers are going everywhere as the racing leader, Brendan Evans, is about to cross the line for another lap there. Back up to Jamie, still putting the pressure there on Stevie. Can't get it done. Stevie Tucker, the 24 Toyota machine, trying to do everything he possibly can to maintain that 110 and wants that position there for the GoPro #1 machine. And just behind them, Bryson, of course, and George going to capitalize on that one. It's a short track, it's a short distance, but 82 to go, 19 down.
Yeah, it's not your traditional intermediate we see in NASCAR. You're generally looking at your traditional cookie cutters being 1.5 miles. So this is a little bit shorter, about 1.1 miles. It also doesn't have that traditional quad oval or tri-oval design. It is that oblong, kind of like an egg-shaped track you see as turns 1 and 2 much wider, as you see on that track map in the top right corner for the viewers at home. Turns 3 and 4 much tighter, much sharper angle as Tanner Bethea is trying to get by Jamie Barkas here for the 4th position. Just cannot find a way past. He's going to look to the inside here off of 4, try to get a run. He gets a little loose. He's going to lose that momentum. He's going to have to sit in line for another lap as we're here at the Darlington Raceway here. Darlington, South Carolina. Used to live in South Carolina. Never got to attend a race at the track, but always ever present on the mind of many in the South. It's known as the Lady in Black, and the track that's too tough to tame. And it's been tough for a couple of drivers taming it early on here tonight, Dean.
That's the reason why I'm learning all these terms actually in the Netflix basically NASCAR series, which is fantastic because it teaches me about all that. You got to go tune into that one if you aren't familiar to NASCAR, kids. It's actually fantastic. As I say, I've only just broadcast this in the virtual world, but it's fantastic to learn all the terminologies and all the tracks And of course, the drivers, what goes on behind the scenes, the families and all that sort of stuff. And it's the same situation in the virtual world. Everybody has families. Everybody has a certain amount of time they have to get behind the simulator, or obviously a driver's in. A little snap across the wall there. I believe that was from Bryson before. Dancing at the wall. But then I just learnt about that actually in one of the series, isn't it? And you probably can tell me which track it is where you have to stripe against the wall. If you're not striping against the wall, you're not going quick enough.
Yeah, that is this track actually. The Darlington stripe
It is the Darlington. All right, I
infamous
thought
track.
it might have been. Good
Yeah,
call.
so
All right.
yeah, you'll see a lot of drivers unfortunately find themselves into the fence, and that's just because this track is so difficult. But really, the fastest line is up against the fence. You're compressing that air on the outside of these cars to kind of create a bubble to give you a little bit more downforce, a little bit more grip, getting that car to rotate and actually increase your speed. So the driver who can go as close to the wall as possible without hitting it will have really fast laps, but generally when you do that, you run the risk of making contact. If we're going to ride on board with Joe Hobbs, he's going to fall behind this group. He seems to have a struggling car at the moment. Looked like he got really loose off of 4, kind of set him up for a bad front straightaway. But driver who spun out earlier, you see him right there at the front of your camera. That's Patrick Drabeck in that white and orange car ahead of this one here. Just went ahead. He spun out first lap on the restart. He just got spun by someone further back in the pack. He's already moved his way back up to 12th. He was down in the 20th
And we get a caution on the speedway, and there's Patrick!
There, yep.
I just put the cameras on Patrick
Robert.
right now. You can see Patrick in your bottom right-hand corner. That's live pictures of Patrick. Doesn't look like the man stressed whatsoever on that one. And just as that caution on the speedway occurred, so there you have it. We're going to have some fantastic more live pictures on that one, but for now, we're going to have to go back and find out exactly what happened on that one. I think that might have been
Robert Barber.
Robert. Yeah, we'll go back and have a replay of that one. I will get better at this
Looks
one.
like, yep, hits the wall. He hits the wall up before. Exactly what I thought was going to be. It's kind of similar to what happened to Kyle Westby and Jake Ellingson on the exit of the corner, especially when the tires started wearing. You get a great view here from his steering inputs. You can see he's already really tight.
Oh,
And then
he
it's gonna
corrected it.
snap loose.
Oh,
Boom.
that won't buff out too quickly, but that does he saves it completely right, so it shouldn't be a massive. He didn't collect anybody. Luckily for the Flow Racing 57 machine there, should turn around there. That's going to give pit stops to everybody else. Brandon's jumping in first, of course. Oh, somebody's spun the pit road.
Tanner Bethea's around.
Tanner has
Spin on the entry to pit road.
Oh,
People are missing. Oh,
we have drama
Kyle
down a pit
Westby
road.
hits. Yeah, Kyle Westby just hit the cones. Drivers did not know where the pit road entry is, and this is a very, very difficult pit road to get on there. As you saw the bumper for that number 91 flying off. We're going to have to probably look back and see what happened to Tanner Bethea, because he was up in the 6th position as we were about to enter pit road, and just out of nowhere, he was spun around. So very interesting situation developing here as we're under caution on lap number 27. Almost a third of the way through the race here, over a quarter of the way through the race. Round number 3 in the Cruising Classics Next Gen Series, but we'll have to probably back it up and see exactly
Yeah, I
what
had to go back and find
Tanner
Tanner
Bethea.
actually for a second. It's not easily anything that gives me any indication of what's going on from
Yeah,
race
he's a little
control.
bit further up. He might have been already on pit road at this point in
have to
time.
find
Because
Tanner,
Kyle
actually.
Westby,
Here we
there
go.
he is. That's Tanner. So
Yep.
let's see what happened to Tanner Bethea here on entry to pit road. Definitely something you don't see often is a
That
car
should-
sideways, especially under caution. Oh, yep, here's
Yeah, go back
drivers
further. This is a
look-
GoPro machine, so make sure you keep an eye on this number 1.
Yeah.
He gets a tap from behind.
Bryson
Look, bang.
Myers.
And then he gets sent.
Yeah.
It should be okay to control this one at this point, right? Because, you know, you're sticking to the speed lane entrance. But the 11's pushed him. Oh, there's beef.
And he spins him. Yeah,
There's beef.
Oh, wow.
That's beef.
That, yeah, as the redneck announcer Jacob Reeves would say, that is beef.
Yeah,
But-
I mean, even I, my
that is-
friend, as not a very good driver, would know I would stick to the fence on that one. I would not be turning at all. There's something that brewed in that one. And speaking of which, and Ray out there, you've got both of your family members. Jake's in the pit road there. And unfortunately, Doug is still had to fix those repairs at the start of the race. But then again, maybe
It looks
Dougie-
like Doug has parked it the rest of the night,
Oh,
according
has
to
he?
Ray Ellingson. So
Right, okay.
didn't want to cause anyone troubles. We appreciate Doug coming out though and racing with us tonight. But yeah, Bryson Myers turns Tanner Bethea on the way to pit road. A huge development here. Surprised he's still in the 4th position. Surprised the race control hasn't looked at that, because Bethea was right behind the driver ahead of him. It's not like Bethea had anywhere to go, and Myers just goes underneath him and then just kind of bumps him 4 different times and spins him out. And that causes a lot of trouble. Kyle Westby hits the barrels because of it, having to go wide. Big chaos here getting on pit road. We're going to take a quick 30-second commercial break, and I'll be right back for the green flags. We'll go back to racing on about lap 30.
Starbase 1552 Comics. We sell everything a collector would want. Comics, Funkos, action figures, and so many more. A real American comic book shop. We are online only. Starbase 1552 Comics. Find us on eBay Auctions.
And we're back live here at the Darlington Raceway. Here, about to get going green. Brandon Evans still your leader. Bryson Myers disagrees with our view of the situation, Dean. He said, how did I spin him? He came on to me, or came down. From my understanding, you have to be single file entering pit road, so I don't know why a driver's underneath another driver, but something for race control to look at in the future. So we're about to go green flag racing here. Brandon Evans still your race leader. Bryson Myers trying to make moves, though, in the 4th position. He's moved up a lot. But he's got company up here with Steve Tucker in the 3rd position. Eddie Smith's going to have a big challenge here. Steve Tucker couldn't get around it before the caution came out on lap number 25. He's going to try to get around him here on this restart with fresh tires. He's looking to the bottom here off of 2. They're going to be tight here, but he's just going to get in line. Bryson Myers now looking to put the charge back to him here on the Boeing straightaway. But they're going to run single file for now through 3 and 4 for the time being. So look out through the rest of the field. Tanner Bethea fell back down to 9th, Dean.
He did actually. Big trouble, actually. I'm seeing a little bit of a flash from somebody. So I had to click on that one. Tanner's there at the moment. But as you said there, for the drivers out there, you know, we up here in the broadcast booth, it doesn't always, we're not going to be the judge, jury, and on that one. That's race control. It's just what we see is what we broadcast, so don't take it too personally unless we really get into some beef about it. It's just the way it looked up on the pictures at the time. But you have to look at it from multiple angles, multiple views, multiple everything. This is also a netcab at play. 32 of 100. Brandon still leading. Eddie Smith, Steve Tucker now. 4 positions gain, 24.
Yeah, and you put it right, Dean. Yeah, we're here broadcasting, but we're also here to provide entertainment for the viewers at home. Hopefully they're enjoying the show here as we're about to hit the 1/3 point. You know, we're going to call it as we individually see it. We may not have all the same information available that the drivers do at any point in time. So our opinion is just that. It is our opinion. It is how we just see it. But Steve Tucker now to the inside of Eddie Smith tried there. Couldn't find the room here as we enter 1 and 2 here. And this is like we were talking about, Dean, the dirty air. You see Steve trying to offset, not run exactly behind Eddie Smith, running a little bit behind him, but a little bit off to get some clean air with that nose of that Toyota Camry DSE behind that Ford Dark Mustang now, that new Mustang nose. Caution flags out as we are at the 1/3 point.
Yeah, I think that might have been Robert back in the field there as Bonnie's waving that caution flag. And I'm not sure I can even see Robert on the speedway. Oh, it could have been Dustin, actually. My apologies on that one. That was a little bit earlier. Let's have a look at the replay on this one. So here's Robert. That's the number 3 machine. He's definitely loosey-goosey on that one. Bang! And he actually takes out, unfortunately. Which car was that? Now, that's unusual to lose it there, you think, right?
Machine.
Oh, it was out of the corner.
It's Dustin. That's Dustin Hardy. So here we are going through 1 and 2.
No, Dustin's the one.
It's Dustin Hardy there.
Dustin loses,
loses it a little bit.
He's trying to save it on the apron.
It is saved and then lost it again.
Yeah. Oops.
Oh, and just comes back up in front of the field. Just tried to save it, made an overcorrection. Car snapped loose. And that's a thing that we don't talk about enough with this next gen car is the steering model is different than in the past, and it causes that car to kind of just snap loose. And yeah, it's very, very interesting how that kind of happened for him. Unfortunate for Dustin Hardy. You see Alan Marshall involved in that incident. He was the one who hit Hardy as he came back across the track. Jake Ellingson there in the back of the field trying to make up some places at the point in time. It looks like he's only a lap down now, trying to get back on the lead lap after going 2 laps down earlier. But this gives us time to talk about some of the presenting sponsors here with Goat Locker Racing's Cruising Classics Next Gen Series, including the presenting sponsor, Cruising Classics. Cruising Classics has been buying and selling cars for a long time. Originally, most were your daily drivers, but their passion has always been classic muscle cars and hot rods. In 1996, they bought a 56,000 square foot facility in Columbus, Ohio that they still own and operate out of today. Cruising Classics, the proud sponsor of the Goat Locker Racing Next Gen Series, and also just a proud sponsor and supporter of Goat Locker Racing. And I gotta say, I do like every once in a while, Dean, going and looking and see what they have, because they got some really nice classic 60s and 70s hot rods. And they also have some very, very nice European and Japanese sports cars as well.
That they do. So you got to be definitely making sure you check them out as well. We're on our third caution, 35, 65 to go. It will go a lot quicker pending those cautions. Brandon's been leading this race practically the whole time, so he's a cruising classic right there, my friend. We're talking about cruising classics.
He is, and winner of 8 races last season in the Cruising Classics Next Gen Cup Series, was also your champion last season as well. So he's looking to repeat the title, but also he's trying to get back in the winner's circle. Hasn't won a race yet here this season, 0 for 2. If he wants to repeat his 8 wins out of 15, he's got to start racking up some wins here shortly, Dean.
Well, you got to win. You got to win. As what I'm learning about the NASCAR series again, I'm going to keep saying it about the Netflix series because I'm just so excited about that one. I'm about 3 episodes into that one. Keep an eye out for Eddie and Steve Tucker. He's been trying, hasn't he, to get those overtakes done. It's not the easiest place to overtake, as I said. The fence is your best friend. And then
also your worst enemy.
And your worst enemy, of course. Yeah, buy it flower. I always say, buy it flowers, take it out for a nice dinner, and you may get to third base if you take that kindly. I'm going to get myself in trouble. Don't forget about Patrick at the moment as well. And we have actually a camera. But there's Patty. Give us a wave if you're listening there, Patty. I'm calling him Patty.
Yeah, it's Patrick Drabeck. Yeah. He's one of our gentlemen who helps us out, getting us all the information we need for broadcasts and stuff, driving that number 07 machine. Unfortunately, due to some scheduling, we're only able to get one cam fully working with scenes and everything. So congrats to you, Patrick Drabeck. We're able to get yours done in time.
Yeah, don't pick your
next
nose
week though,
on camera.
we'll start getting more. Definitely don't do anything you wouldn't be proud of, Patrick, on camera. But we hope to have more and more drivers out throughout the next couple weeks or so. It just takes a very long time sometimes to set up, so we get it exactly how we want to give you guys the best product out there. But now we've got the half lap to go, 1 to go till we go green. Lights are out in the pace car. The field is 2 by 2 by 2. To give you a quick top 10, that's Brandon Evans, Eddie Smith, your front row. Row 2, Steve Tucker with Bryson Myers. Row 3, Jamie Barkas and George Jewell. Row 4, Patrick Drabeck and Tanner Bethea. And rounding out row 5 on this restart, that's going to be Kyle Westby and Kenneth Bartholomew. So we get ready to go green, lap 38 of 100.
Come on, Barney. Flow the green flag down at the moment there. As Brandon's going to take everybody across there. Line up astern there, Eddie Smith. Let's go.
Yeah, you see there's Steve Tucker giving a big push to Brandon Evans. He's trying to clear Eddie Smith. He will clear Eddie Smith. Not a great restart for that outside front row driver. Steve Tucker moves up into the second position, just clears him now. The rest of that inside line looks like they're trying to gain a position as well, looking throughout the field. Jamie Barkas. Oh, there's trouble. Tanner Bethea's around in the back of the field.
There it is. There's Tanner.
We stay green for
We should be
now.
green. No, it's caution. It's caution on the speedway.
Yeah, and with that, we're going to do one quick Goat Locker partner read, and then we will go to commercial break, and we'll be right back here with your second half of the Darlington Raceway, round 3 in the Cruising Classics Next Gen Series. But first, before we hit the break, let's talk about Jam Printing and Promotions. Jam Printing and Promotions, located in Plainfield, Indiana, is a certified veteran-owned company who have combined their passion for music and marketing to produce creative solutions in apparel, print, packaging, campaign creation, promotional products, and more. Since founding in 2013, they have partnered with more than 60 local nonprofits with a primary focus on veteran, women, and children-centered organizations such as Goat Locker Racing, providing Goat Locker Racing with promotional items including shirts, hats, decals, dog tags, and more. Jam Printing and Promotions. Right now, Goat Locker Racing Store, they're trying to get some of their products moved. So if you are on the Goat Locker Racing Discord, look at the Goat Locker Racing Store, probably involved over Jam Printing and Promotions. We appreciate them coming on board as a partner for the Cruising Classics Next Gen Series. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we will be back with the remainder of round number 3 here at Darlington.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know
We're back live here. Round number 3, Cruising Classics Next Gen Series field is 2x2, ready to go back to the green flag here in a half a lap's time. It'll be lap number 42 when we go green. Brandon Evans still your leader. He's led every lap so far tonight, but new driver on the outside of the front row. First time in the second place position. That's Steve Tucker. He's +5 on the day. Right now, your biggest movers, that's Chris Sawyer. He's +11 in the 9th position. As we're getting ready to go back green again, Brandon Evans waiting to get to the Geico restart zone and seeing Barney the flagman wave that green flag. The anticipation's building. It'll be 59 laps to go. Brandon Evans, green flag, back underway at Darlington.
Here we go, gentlemen. This is the moment you've been waiting for, and it's the moment that they want to get it all done there. Cautions have been bred a few times here this evening, but on the inside there, Eddie Smith and Stephen Tucker. And Eddie's going to keep it out of the fence there for the podium machine. He's going to drop all the way back down there below the 10 or so line there, but Brandon still leads.
Yeah, Eddie's going to fall back to 10th. Looks like two cars just kind of came together there. Didn't look like anyone really did anything wrong per se. Just not a lot of space there coming off the exit of these corner. But Bryson Meyer capitalizes. He comes up in the second position in that 11 Chevy Camaro ZL1. Steve Tucker drops back to third as we're on lap 43 of 100. Really, Eddie Smith's the big loser as we see another car sideways in the back of the field. That was Brandon Barrier. He hits the inside wall. We stay green for the time being.
Brandon, another one on the inside apron there that kind of just scrapes the wall there, which you can do here, obviously, at Darlington. Usually the outside wall, but not the inside wall. But hey, if the car's still pointing in the right direction, you keep on driving. 57 to go as Brandon Evans is all the way down the road there. Steve Tucker's making the inside there of Bryson. Steve Tucker's is going to keep having to sit behind vehicles all the time long. Chris Sawyer and all lots of action happening in the background here.
Yeah, a lot of cars that looked like bounced off the fence off of 4, including Bryson Myers in that white machine, that white Chevy Camaro ZL1. Scraped the wall throughout 3 and 4. We saw multiple cars, though, hitting the wall off that corner as we come back down towards 1 and 2 here this time by Steve Tucker. As soon as he moves up into that second position, something happens. He falls back to third. We're on lap 45 of 100, looking for a 55 to go. Wow, Patrick Drabick, what a slide there off of 2. Really struggling to find the handle of these race cars at this point in time. The track is very slick right now, Dean.
He's got some big pressure there from George. George's going to capitalize. And you have to capitalize because it's difficult to overtake, as you know, here currently in the Darlington Raceway. And as soon as somebody has a little bit of tank slapper against the wall there, you do capitalize it. George now has to tuck in behind there. Patrick is up 9 positions there for the 07 machine.
Oh!
And just like that, Patrick hits the fence again. Not very good there. I don't think it's going to be a commentator curse on us on that one, but that's caused a little bit of dilemma there. Patrick, I don't know how much damage he's got on that machine.
That's pretty significant.
You think
can
so?
tell
At the moment,
he's
let's have a
moving down
look.
out of the way. Yeah, he's much slower. He's going to let the field
look at the
go
steering
by
wheel
here.
on the picture-in-picture action as well, too. There's sick on the inside apron there. He's going to be talking to his engineer or his spotter to say what I'm going to do, but I think that's pit road for him at the moment for now.
Yeah, he'll have to go down the pit road with that 07 machine. You can tell there's significant damage. His wheel's not even getting back towards straight.
But look at Bryson.
Myers closing the gap to Brandon Evans here. And now we have a battle for the lead, the first real battle for the lead all night long here as Bryson Myers has closed the gap in that 11 Chevy Camaro on the 39 Chevy Camaro of Brandon Evans. But caution is out on the speedway.
Oh.
There's a wreck on the front straightaway, I believe. Yep, there it is.
That's Kyle
Westby in another incident. He was involved in the first incident where he hit the wall, came down, and took out Jake Ellenson. Just part of the nature of how difficult this track is. It is extremely challenging.
Oh.
And it's Jake Ellingson again, ironically.
Wow, this is not a repeat of the
yeah.
earlier in the races. This is actually what's just happened again. Very, very touch and go on that one, as you would call.
Yeah, it looked like the 91 kind of came down on the 27 there. 27 was close to him, but it looks like the 91 came off the wall and just kind of spun himself out there.
That's hard to see, isn't it? I mean,
yeah, it's hard to see from the
kind of
in-car
go
camera.
from a gearbox perspective.
Yeah, it's still going to kind of be a little difficult to see like the margins. They're going through 3 and 4 here. They're side by side. Yeah, wow. Just an unfortunate situation there for Kyle Westby. This view will probably get us a decent idea if the wall is not blocking too much. Now this he hits him coming off the corner.
Yeah, there's the first
It's already
contact,
a little bit of tension.
and there's the second.
And Yeah, it's hard to tell. There is kind of like a half a lane there.
But a race leader's gone in.
Ugh. Yep. Wow. Race leader Brandon Evans is in on pit road. Looks like the rest of the field will follow. Yep. There they are.
Tanner, Scotty,
Not
Chris.
the rest of the field.
No, only some of them. So Bryson, Stevie.
Yeah, Bryson Myers stayed out.
Yep. So they're taking a gambling on this one because we're halfway through this race. So 50 of 100.
Yeah, interesting move. Your leader, Brandon Evans, has led every lap up until now. New leader, Bryson Myers, for the first time tonight. We have a lead change. Comes under caution at the halfway point, lap 50 of 100. Bryson Myers will take over the lead. Steve Tucker will move up to second. Jamie Barkus third. George Jewell fourth. Eddie Smith rebounds up to fifth now. Kenneth Bartholomew sixth. Seventh. Jake Ellingson eighth. Bobby Germain ninth. Joe Hobbs. And running out your top 10 right now, that's John Anthony and that Chevy Camaro ZL1 00 machine. But now we got pit strategies, Dean. We have deferring pit strategy for the first time tonight. 1st through 11th did not pit under this last caution. 12th on back, those are going to be the drivers who did pit, led by Brandon Evans. And this is the first time we're going to see Brandon Evans in traffic tonight, Dean. It's going to be a challenge for him.
More so, Joe's gone in, and as well as Dustin. But I was going to say, if anything, it's actually going to benefit the likes of Jake. You look at Jake here currently at the moment. P7 and fresher boots there. Bobby, fresher boots, and so forth. And boots, of course, I'm talking about tires. And see how everybody else is going to pan into pit road. We'll get rid of that graphic at the moment because it is scorming up a ton of screen
That's
space.
Dustin Hardy and Joe Hobbs.
Yeah.
Those two drivers came down. Maybe they're trying a different strategy. We're halfway. We think the fuel window, these drivers can make it for pitting on lap 50. It should be about 50 to 60 laps of fuel, or 40 to 60 laps of fuel. We don't have an exact fuel range. Didn't speak to a driver pre-race, unfortunately, but drivers who pit on lap 26 probably cannot make it to the end on fuel. Drivers who pit on lap 50 probably can, Dean. So that's going to drive some strategy if we don't see any cautions the rest of the way. I say, hopefully, we don't see any cautions the rest of the way. But as we've seen so far tonight, it's been a bit of a different race than what we saw last week in Las Vegas.
I can't show you that on the graphic at the moment, but Brandon Evans, he's the one that just boxed on lap 49. Let's see if I can actually pull the one up
he's
actually
in
for you.
10th.
So he's the one with the freshest boots in town. And we all know those boots are made
everyone
for walking,
behind
right?
him. Yeah, they are, and we'll have to see. He has led most of the race tonight, but now he's going to be back in traffic, Dean. So yes, he may have those fresh boots, but we'll see how traffic plays a role in his ability to get through it here, as it looks like we're going to have one more pace lap, as the field's not yet 2x2x2 yet. It does look like the lights are on the iRacing pace car, but kind of hard to tell. Nope, looks like the field is finally getting two abreast, so we'll go back green flag racing here at the end of this lap. But now we're going to see what Brandon Evans can do in traffic. One, can he survive? We've seen a lot of calamity in the midfield. And what will Bryson Myers and Steve Tucker do up front now? Now they don't have Brandon Evans to compete with. How will the race dynamics change? So a lot going on here past the halfway point in round number 3, Dean.
Yeah, and Tyler actually coming back to that one after just recently watching, once again, I'm going to go back to that Netflix series. It feels like I'm sponsored by Netflix, but I'm not. You see some drivers that actually just lift off feeling that there's going to be a crash up the road. Something's going to happen. So what they'll do is that they'll just back off there and pan it out. But I tell you one place I'd like to be right now, Bryson and Stephen Tucker on the first row, because, hey, there ain't going to be any crash up the road at the moment. It's about to start lap 53. 52.
Coming to lap 53, green flag. Yep, 53. Bryson Myers leads the field. He gets out front, and Steve Tucker. Good restart for Steve Tucker on the outside. Jamie Barkus is going to try and slot in a third.
Oh,
He will, over
there's
George
accidents.
Jewell.
Oh, it's big.
Oh, big wreck. Big wreck. Is Brandon Evans involved? Yes.
He has.
That is
Oh,
Brandon Evans.
you called it,
And
didn't you?
this is
You
what I
called
talked
it.
about, Dean. Being in traffic is a risk. And him pitting when he did and half the field not put him at
Did
risk.
he get damage on it?
We'll have to see how much damage, yeah. We'll have to ride along with Brandon Evans and look back and rewind into the wreck and see exactly what happened. No, he's the first one to spin. So he spins in front of the field.
Yeah,
Does he
Bob,
get
look at this
touched?
one.
Probably have to see it now. We have to see it. Here we're coming to the green flag. This will give us a great view, Dean. Appreciate all your camera work and also helping call the race tonight. Blake Lothian will be back with me next week in the booth, so Dean, you don't have to worry about it. You can save your beautiful voice for another race. We'll have a second announcer.
Charming, sir, but let's have a look.
I
Oh, no,
tried.
there's somebody else on the apron. No, that
Ooh,
you were
concept.
correct.
Yep. Nope. Yep. 00 drifts up, takes out the 39. Tanner Bethea, who's having a good run. He's going to pile in. Kyle Westby again, unfortunately involved in another incident. That's the 22. 22 is, I'm trying to find out my timing and scoring here. 22, that is, ooh, I don't see a 22. It might
I
be
don't
an
see a 22.
race,
Yeah, it's an
trading
iRacing
paints
thing.
issue. Might be a trading paints thing.
Anyway.
Yeah, Brandon Evans spun out. A lot more drivers involved in that wreck. That's a big wreck for the field. He'll have to come down pit road, use that fast repair. Looks like Brandon Evans will be doing that here. So lap 55, we'll use this to take a quick, short commercial break. We'll try and get one of those beautiful commercials up for you folks. And we'll be back for the second half of round number 3 at Darlington.
Are you ready?
For Murph's Magical Creations. Home to custom laser engraving and gifts. This veteran-owned and operated company engraves for all occasions. If you want one of Murph's magical creations, call the number on your screen or commission through either Instagram or via email. Murph's Magical Creations, made with love for you.
Starbase 1552 Comics. We sell everything a collector would want. Comics, Funkos, action figures, and so many more. A real American comic book shop. We are online only. Starbase 1552 Comics. Find us on eBay Auctions.
Back here at Darlington Raceway, the Cruising Classics Next Gen Series. We've had, I believe, 6 cautions now tonight. Dean, Bryson Myers, your leader up front. Steve Tuck, second. Barker there, George Jewell, fourth. Eddie Smith rounding out your top 5. And the driver who dominated much of this race early on, Brandon Evans, caught up in that last wreck. And kind of how I told you, Dean, he was fastest in practice, sat on the pole, but took pit strategy, ended up back in the pack, gets spun going on the restart, entering 1 and 2. And now he's kind of in not a great situation either. He's going to restart 14th here. He's used up his fast repair, most likely. It's going to be tense here for the 39 machine.
I didn't know if he got enough damage, do you think, to use that fast repair, but either way, he did have to go to pit road, exactly. After leading all of that race, it's, well, it's not where you start, but it's where you finish. And you called it. You absolutely called it there, Tyler. It's, when you get stuck in that middle of the pack there, you're at the mercy, basically, of any accidents that occur up the road there, and unfortunately he was. Well, he was the one who essentially at this point caused that accident, which is very surprising. But it is what it is.
Yeah,
maybe because he was so used to
spun
leading the
around.
front there, he wasn't used to all that dirty air from behind. So we'll see.
Yeah, he got a little help from the driver of the 00 machine, I believe, of John Anthony there causing that wreck. But like you said, Dean, you're kind of at the mercy of the pack when you're back in that pack. So big challenge for him coming throughout the rest of this race. 57, coming to lap 58, Dean. We have just over 40 laps to go in this race.
Yep, 44, give or take on that one. Hopefully less caution free. 6 of those cautions at the moment there. Bryson up 3 against Stevie, up 5 for the 24 machine versus the 11 there. 15 and 36 there. Area 3rd and 4th. So they're going to go 2 abreast. And it's all about bringing this one home. Remember, these drivers have all boxed on lap 26 there. It was Patrick, don't forget, back in the field there. He boxed a little bit earlier, so his tires should be fresh. They're going to go down there and visit Barney for another time and another lap around Darlington.
Yeah, we've wrapped up our 6th caution of the night, going green here on lap 58 of the Cruising Classic Next Gen Series, round 3, Darlington. One previous race winner sitting in second position, but that's Bryson Myers leading the race. Myers was a very competitive driver last week at Las Vegas, ran top 5, top 10 most of the race, Dean. He finds himself leading after some misfortune and some pit strategy from Brandon Evans as we're going to try and get through this restart there. That was Eddie Smith, looked like a little bit of nope, that wasn't Eddie Smith. But Jake Ellingson found his way back inside the top 5 for the meanwhile there, Dean.
Jake is fighting, of course, and he will not give up. He does not give up because Ray's out there shouting for him as well. And Patrick's also lurking in the background. I said, don't count out Patrick just yet because he knows that there is 42 laps to go on this race. And as I said, he's got those fresh boots, and they're going to make them use. And they can actually see on the inside there. Who is that on the outside? Couldn't quite get that one on time there, my friend.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. That looked to it wasn't Jamie Barkis. Maybe it was Jamie Barkis there. Got extremely loose, got sideways there, has fallen back several spots.
Challenge
It was
for the
Jamie
lead.
Barkis, that 15 machine. But now the lead battle front for the lead has heated up here. Steve Tucker and Bryson Myers. Bryson Myers goes to the high side here off of 2. Steve Tucker looking low, getting some cleaner. He's going to have a big run down the Boeing back straightaway here as we look towards 3 and 4. But they're, you know, covering that line, covering that dirty air, making sure Tucker has to work in a lane he doesn't like. That's going to allow Eddie Smith to close it, but Tucker's there to the inside. The battle for the lead commences, and it's going to be a battle, 3-way battle here as Eddie Smith closes, but Tucker's going to dive bomb it into 1 and 2, hopefully get that car slowed up. He does. Eddie Smith gets through as well. Bryson Myers goes from 1st to 3rd in half a corner.
Eddie Smith is on a rampage at the moment. Set the fastest lap at 28.5. Not that that's going to make too much of a difference at this point, but he is on a rampage, and he's hunting down our leader at the moment, Steve Tucker. 61, 40 to go, and they're starting to spread out a little bit at the moment. You can see him all the way down the front stretch into turn 2.
Yeah, it looks like the accidents happened back in 3 and 4. There's a stopped car back in 3 and 4 all the way in the back of the pack. Looks like our 7th caution flag is out, and that is, who is that? That is the 53 of Brandon Barrier. Looked to be the cause of this yellow, as he is well behind the field here, as we're going to go through the Goat Locker replay here. He's going to come up behind the 73 to the outside of that 21. And he's going to try and go 3 wide between Bartholomew and Sawyer, and that's not going to pan out. A little bit of a bold move there from Brandon Barrier, and that was just not going to work. And looks like he didn't hit too much. But now everyone who didn't pit earlier, they've come down pit road, and that means new race leader, Patrick Grabeck, who pitted on lap 49. Brandon Evans will move up to 2nd. So Evans got the track position back there, Dean.
Yeah, he did it by that earlier pit stop. Basically foreseeing future accidents, which is something that's crucial, I guess, when it comes to driving on ovals. It's very, very smart. Of course, everybody looks like Eddie Smith there, Jamie and Bryson will all head down the pit road and take the opportunity, of course, under caution. That's when the best time you have to box. And I save you a little bit of time. You can see them as the leaders go in the backstretch, so they can catch the rest of the pack there. But Patrick, a smart play, but remember on this case, Patrick boxed about 4 laps earlier than our race leader of Brandon, that had been leading most of the race. So don't think that much of the tire difference will be coming to play, but gasoline, how will that pan out?
Yeah, it's all going to come down to whether or not Drabeck has enough fuel, or same with Evans. I will say Evans' pit stop was later. It's probably just to repair any damage he had from that accident, right? So they both pit on lap 49. Evans gets involved in the accident pretty much the next lap when we got green again. So not much of a tire difference. If Evans didn't replace tires, he may have some scuff marks on those from that spin out he had. But otherwise, I would say the front 2 should be pretty even on equipment. That being said, what damage does Evans still have? Can he take that fight to Drabeck? But we've seen Drabeck in the wall a few times as well, Dean. So it's not like that car's been perfectly clean all night. Meanwhile, Kenneth Bartholomew up 8 positions. He's in the 4th spot. But Dustin Hardy, 3rd position. He's up 16 spots since the drop of the green flag in that number 3 Ford Dark Horse Mustang with a Dale Earnhardt-esque scheme with that number 3, although it's a Hardy scheme. Instead of, I believe, Wrangler was what Dale Sr. used to do, the blue and gold back in the day.
I'm a little concerned about Kenneth at the 73 machine because he boxed, if you actually look at the graphic there, way back in, so he cannot go to the end for sure. He knows that, but he'd be also preying on another caution, which is very possible because cautions breed cautions. So sees the opportunity, but then again, knowing everybody else is just going down a pit road, he will lose some positions, but he has time, 37 on his side, as we're on our 7th course, 64 to go. Well, 64 down, 37 to go.
Yep, and it will be 36 to go. Amigo green here. Patrick Drabick will lead the field to green. Brandon Evans going to quickly get in line there. Make sure you don't change lanes before you cross the restart line. They're going to go single file first through fourth. First two wide battle. That's Formosa. He's got, looks like Joe Hobbs to his outside, but they're going to get single file here. It's going to be clean, but oh, that fence comes quick. Looks like a car in the back here, that gray and blue machine got involved on the fence there, but we keep it straight. We go towards lap number 66 here.
Oh, it's 30. Oh, it's a tangle of fences there from Steve Tucker. He's got to stick it up the inside. Let's have a look at the external view here at the moment there. You got Eddie Smith. Remember, you got everybody out of formation, essentially, from tire strategies and so forth. There's Tangle, there's in the fence, and then they go.
Oh, Tucker and Smith in the fence. Oh, and they clip. Ooh, is that Jamie Barkis? Yep, Colton Langford and Jamie Barkis also involved. That's a big hit for those two drivers. That's two drivers who were top 5 all night, Dean, and Steve Tucker and Eddie Smith getting involved in a wreck there of their own doing. And you know who kind of wins out in this is actually Bryson Myers. He was with that group of 3. He was part of that group of 3. He gets ahead of those two on that restart, and those two tangle. He gets away from the accident. He has the freshest tires of anyone who didn't pit after lap 54 from that accident with Brandon Evans. So still your race leader up front, Patrick Drabick, Brandon Evans, Dustin Hardy, Kenneth Bartholomew, Scott Formosa, your top 5.
This is when
Kenneth
Kenneth should take this opportunity, right, to go on pit road, because he's the one that's on those older gasoline boots, and he has to. I'd have to say he should go down to pit road. He'll lose a ton of positions. See, a few other drivers will take that opportunity, but he doesn't. Bobby goes down, but Kenneth stayed out. I'm surprised. Kenneth maybe
with the amount of cautions
caution.
he may have saved. Yeah, with the amount of cautions, though, Kenneth could be saving a lot of fuel, Dean. I mean, you run, you can save pretty close to a lap to 2 laps for every lap you're, under caution. So Kenneth maybe just clutching it around the entire time. Steve Tucker's coming in for damage repair, as well as Colton. No, my bad. That wasn't Colton Langford. Well, that was Alan Marshall, who's significant damage. His front bumper was torn off. Brandon Barrier's in as well, as it looks like Eddie Smith should be in the back of that group. Jamie Barkis all the way back down there on pit road. All coming in this time to get damage repaired. And Ray, you said a lot of stupid driving tonight. I think it's not necessarily stupid driving as it is. This track is difficult, and there's been a lot of impatience. I think that has caused a lot of it, and people are trying to get back to the throttle too soon, getting into the wall, and then not able to save it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, these are difficult machines to drive anyway, and this is a difficult track. And I'm going to go back to it again for the Netflix series. Actually indicates that one, because even the best drivers in the planet struggle to get anything done around here. I'm wondering, where is Patrick at the moment? I don't think we can get a lot of yarn. Patrick is here, and let's have a look. Let's on board with Patrick. There he is. So all like that, Patrick's now leading the race again. And remember how far he was down after all those incidents. Think we can get him in for a quick yarn?
Yeah, we can try and bring him in here for a quick chat if we can find him. I've not any certain way of where there are voice chats in. It's a little bit different because there's no like voice chats to necessarily pull him
I can bring him
but...
up perhaps here for a second.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, we'll try and get our race leader Patrick Drabick in here to talk with us here. As we're under caution here for the 8th time tonight, Patrick Drabick, you're joining us live in the NASCAR 360 Racing Network booth with Dean and Tyler. You're the race leader at this point in time, up front, but you were back in the pack due to some earlier troubles at this track. We've seen a lot of cautions tonight. What can you talk about the track and why it's kind of racing the way it is?
Man, it's just real slick out here tonight. The car really starts to go away after about 8 or 9 laps, and it's like driving on ice. And everybody knows Darlington's tough to pass, so I think guys are just getting really aggressive too, trying to make the passes when they can and just getting tangled up. But it's a tough one out here tonight for sure, boys. Taking the outside.
Yeah, we see here you're going to take the outside on this restart here. 1 to go. Patrick, before we get you back so you can focus ahead here, as we're going to have about 30 laps to go when we go green. What do you kind of expect from these next 30 laps, and what can you do to stay ahead of Brandon Evans, who led the majority of this race to start?
Well, clean air is king, and if I can kind of keep it up front, hopefully I can keep him behind me. But I expect we're still going to have a handful of cautions to finish this thing out. It's been a tough night, but these boys in the Crusin Classic Series, man, they're racing their guts out, and we're going to try to put on a good show for the audience.
Well, we appreciate you talking with us, Patrick. Hopefully, we'll be talking to you after the race as part of a podium interview, maybe even a race winner interview, given the peace sign up for on the driver cam. That's our race leader, Patrick Drabeck, as our producer, Dean, will let him go back.
I'm going to try to move him back. I might have a bit of a problem moving Paul Patrick back at this point.
Well,
yes.
Patrick will get some live
I'm not
commentary.
used to doing this one, Patrick. You don't mind at the moment, my friend, because I don't know how to move you back into the Goat Locker Racing squad there. Oh dear.
As our producer Dean, I will call the restart here. So Patrick, you'll get to hear firsthand here on this one as you will lead the field of green. Patrick Drabeck the outside, Brandon Evans to the inside. Green flag, Barney the flagman waves it. We're back racing, finishing up the 8th caution of the night. Crusin Classics Next Gen Series for Goat Locker Racing. And they're going to go single file, the first two side by side back there. That's Dustin Hardy, Kenneth Bartholomew. Bartholomew's around into the fence. There's trouble there in the back of the pack, but we stay green for the meanwhile. The battle's up front, caution's out.
Yeah.
Well, Patrick, you can breathe easy again. Sorry you had to deal with that, but
it's all good. All good, guys.
We'll try and fix this.
I don't know if you have a
Evanson's
chance there,
back.
Patrick. I don't know if anybody can actually move you into your correct channel there, or if you can do it
Give
yourself.
me a second here, and I should be able to move myself.
thank
Guys,
you.
I really appreciate everything that you guys are doing, the outstanding broadcasting that you guys
You're
do.
on camera too,
Hey,
Patrick. Give us a wave.
You let me hang out in the broadcast booth for a little while longer, so I mean, I feel kind of special.
Oh, no, you definitely are, sir. We wish you the best of luck the rest of this way. 25 laps to go probably when we go green. But Patrick Drabeck, thank you for joining us here in the NASA 360 Racing Network booth.
Pace car's going into three.
Hopefully, we have to get somebody has to help him out there because it's a little bit more complicated from my end.
Now he's caught up. He'll be able to figure it out here. But we're gonna go back as he is now left us here in this 360 Racing Network booth. We're gonna have to go back to actually Kenneth Bartholomew. I think was unfortunately
it's Kenneth,
a big cause of that accident. So if we rewind it, you already see he's slowed down here.
Yeah, you know what?
Like
I actually come to think of this is because he did not box. He did not box.
Yeah, so him and Dustin Hardy are going to be racing side by side down towards 1 and 2. And it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out here, Dean. I don't know. Maybe it was like Brandon Evans, the 3 just kind of gets up into him, or 73 kind of came down a lot. Didn't really give the 3 much room, right? Because you see the yellow line way off there as you see other drivers just plow into Bartholomew. Nowhere for them to go.
I honestly think it's because Kenneth gambled. Oh, there's a little tap. I think it's because Kenneth, as I said, he did not go down the pit road at all during that, and he's the only one that boxed once. And I thought he should have come in a little bit earlier, maybe gambled to keep that track position, and then the car got loosey-goosey on him.
No, for sure. But I will say the thing with that incident is like, right, you see the yellow line all the way at the bottom, but yes, that's the apron, but really the apron's where that white dash line is. The corners here at Darlington are much narrower where the banking is. It's still really flat between that yellow line and that dashed white line you see up on the corner, Dean, you'll see here coming as we go towards 1 and 2. All the banking is really above the dash white line. Bartholomew kind of comes down into him a little bit, but you see that dash white line? That's like the boundary.
Oh.
Dustin can't go lower than that if he wants to be able to make the corner. If he goes lower than that, he will wreck. It's just not possible at this track to go below that dash line and make the corner. So Bartholomew didn't really give a lot of space there for that number 3.
Understood. And that's what you'd learn up in the broadcasting booth if you're not a driver. Hello at the moment, everybody out there. In the chat,
that's why
thank
I'm
you
here,
for
Dean.
tuning in. Yeah, that's why I need you, my friend.
Give you that driver perspective.
Yeah, give me a Formula 1 car, and I'll tell you exactly how to drive it. Not that I've ever driven a Formula 1 car before in my life. There's only 20 of those in the world that could do it. But those things glued to the track a lot
only
more.
Stay 20 because Andretti got rejected, Dean.
I know. That's the most upsetting news I've had to hear today. Yeah. And we won't spoil the news, but it's Formula 1 being Formula 1, like... To me, it's the likes of Mercedes and Renault and
Mercedes and Red
Ferrari
Bull
and all that.
McLaren not wanting new people in.
They don't want to. The pie in Formula 1 is a lot of money, and they don't want to just distribute the pie from the slice to some other team. But That's unfortunately the way it is. That's politics, but this is not Formula One. This, of course, is Next Gen Classics, Cruising Classics.
Yeah, Patrick Drabeck leads the field back to green. We have 26 laps to go. Coming up 3/4 done. Way through the race now. Dustin Hardy, though, has his outside. That's Scott Formosa. They're going to be 2 by 2 for the 3rd position. But out front, Brandon Evans is giving Patrick Drabeck all he can handle. He's going to get to the inside here. A little bit of cars on the wall in the back. Nothing too bad. Evans taking the fight to the leader. Patrick Drabeck here in 3 and 4.
That was actually a fantastic launch. You don't see that very often here in these cars. You don't see that leader usually goes off in the road. They usually already got like a big gap immediately. But that's nothing that this man wants at the moment there. Brandon says, I want to resume the lead of this race, and he is resuming the lead of this race at the moment. Actually got past Patrick pretty quickly at the moment as Dustin goes a little scraping off the wall there. He's got big pressure from Scotty in the background.
Yeah, Scott Formosa giving him the pressure. Eddie Smith went for a wild ride there off 2, gathered back up, but Jake Ellingson gets around him for the 5th position. Looked like there was a lot of chaos there off of 3 and 4 last lap around. A lot of chaos here so far in the late going of Cruising Classics Next Gen Series Round 3 at Darlington here. And this is a very tight group now. You got 6 cars under a blanket, and that's going to create some tense situations there as Eddie Smith goes around Scott, but he doesn't have a great exit, and they're going to get piled up here. They keep it straight for now, but that really caused a bunch-up effect.
Yeah, Scotty had to lift off big time on that one, and that's Scotty the 80 machine just to make sure he can keep it absolutely out of the fence and out of the other cars that are around there. Giving Bobby a bit of an opportunity. They got Steve Tucker behind him. Jake's still hanging in this one at the moment. And further up the field, here it is, the battle for P3 currently at the moment. And there's Dustin going on the inside apron. Can he hold on, Dustin? Hang in there, son. He does correct the steering wheel, lift off the gas a little bit. Be painful to see all those cars cruise on by, but then once again, hey, it's the Cruising Classics, my friend. You're cruising your way still, 23 laps to go.
Yeah, Dustin Hardy at 3 machine really struggled handling. You can see he has to go so much slower because he's below that dash white line. Meanwhile, Steve Tucker's trying to get around Bobby Germain. He will for the 5th position. Move him inside the top 5. Jake Ellingson in 4th, trying to close the gap to Eddie Smith in 3rd. Patrick Drabeck 2nd. But now Brandon Evans has opened up over a half-second lead there as that's Bobby Germain getting really loose off the corner. He's going to lose another spot, this time to Bryson Myers. Really struggling.
Oh, there's going to be contact. Yeah, look at this. 53 to the fence there. Going to hold on tight. These gentlemen are going to be beefing it up there. 21 to go. Remember, they're going to be going very quickly. Sometimes I think taking that escape rope on the apron, if you can keep out of the fence, is not a bad idea, because when push comes to shove and when Barney's going to wave him that flag at the end, he might be very much happy that you're in a good place at a good time there. And look at Jake at the moment under huge pressure from Steve Tucker for the battle for P4.
Yeah, this battle is heated up very quickly. Tucker got by Bobby Germain. Now he's going to take the battle to Jake Ellingson. He's on fresher tires by about 5 laps. He's going to try and make the pass here off of 4. He'll have the line going into 1 and 2. Give position number 4 to Steve Tucker. And now Jake Ellingson will come under fire. That's from Bryson Myers in that white Chevy Camaro ZL1. Meanwhile, looking further up the road, Patrick Drabeck has gotten the lead back down to 4/10. Now as Myers is going to get around Ellingson here on the back straightaway. Make him move up to the 5th position. Ellingson back to 6th. Battle for the lead, though. Brandon Evans, 0.4 of a second right now over Patrick Drabeck, who has about 1.5 seconds over Eddie Smith for 3rd. So right now, first 2 have a pretty big gap back to the 3rd place car, as they're going to catch a little bit of lap traffic here as they have 19 to go in this race, but we never know. There's always a caution lurking around every single corner here at Darlington Raceway.
Yeah, those walls come out and absolutely bite you, and we know that could happen there. And look at those overtakes we've seen. That's crazy there, man. Look easy peasy overtakes, but they're not. It's all about judging everything at the right place at the right time. Patrick, the only difference, of course, to Patrick, and I'll show you that currently on your screen, is the tires. Patrick, older boots, 33 of 28 currently at the moment from Brandon. So Brandon knows he has a little bit of an advantage, not so much. But further back in the field, we do have another battle brewing course. It's Scotty and George, and that's for your P9 and P10 position.
Yeah, George Jewell actually moving up to P8. Looks like another driver had an issue. So Scott Formosa drops back to the 9th spot. George Jewell moves up to the 8th spot. Now as everyone's kind of spaced out here, further back, it looks like Jamie Barkis is coming under fire from John Anthony. That'd be the battle for 11th, but the field is getting more and more spaced out right now as we have 17 laps to go. And the question is, can Eddie Smith and Steve Tucker close the gap to that 2nd place driver, Patrick Drabeck? They are on the fresher tires by about 20 laps, but a lot of those laps were run under caution, as you and I both know, Dean. So Those two drivers in third and fourth do have the
Oh,
freshest
in the
boots in the top
fence.
5, but that's Bobby Germain in the fence.
Yeah. Well, they do say you have to use the fence, don't you, at the moment here in Darlington, but only so much of the fence you really want to use. Go drop a couple of places, but hopefully don't damage that steering rack. You'll still point it in the right direction and finish this, because 16 laps to go. You don't be going down pit road at the moment. Caution's going to be the only one that's going to save you currently in a moment. And speaking of that lap traffic, there it is up on the inside there, getting completely out of the way there. So Patrick and Brandon and Eddie Smith will go all the way around. Here we go, down the backstretch.
Yeah. And great of that lap car getting out of the way, letting the leaders race. And you see very spaced out top 5 there. And you have to go all the way back to that white car, that lap car, that gray machine in between. But that white car of Bryson Myers is your 5th place car. He's going to try and get by that lap machine on the inside here. Top 5 very, very spaced out for the time being. Patrick Drabeck now 3/4 of a second behind the leader, Brandon Evans. Now a second back, but to Eddie Smith in 3rd, and then almost another full second back to Steve Tucker in 4th, who has over a second back to 5th of Bryson Myers. So very spaced out in the top 5 for the time being, but 14 laps to go. These drivers have had their handful. We could see a self spin here, bring out a yellow late here, as we're looking for 13 to go for the leader, Brandon Evans.
Yeah, and look at this at the moment. Patrick, currently at the moment, you can see the concentration on his fingers there. Look at the system that he has. His rig set up. He's got trophies on his shelf. He's a fantastic esports driver. He knows how to get it done. The concentration on his face is through the roof. He knows that Brandon is the one that could deny him. He's 12 positions gained there from Patrick. He's got a little bit of a gap back to Eddie. Eddie's is probably his biggest problem, just looking in his mirrors. But for now, for Patrick, it's focusing on P1, 12 to go.
Yeah, Eddie has closed that gap, call it less than half a second now. We'll call it 4/10 of a second. Steve Tucker trying to close that gap to Patrick Drabeck as well. These drivers are going to have their hands full here in a short moment's time. Meanwhile, Brandon Evans is like, fine, gentlemen, fight behind me all you want. Just don't get up near me. And he's opened up a 1.5-second lead over second place now. Brandon Evans starting to sail away with this one late. He was your fastest driver in practice, sat on the pole, led most laps early on. Had a rough road to get back here to the front, Dean, with an incident earlier, but he's found himself back in the lead, and he's looking pretty smooth, cruising towards the victory in the Cruising Classics.
Oh, yeah,
next gen
exactly.
series.
Winston Churchill said you never give up, never surrender, of course, and that was the reason why England, of course, we feel, of course, the allies of the United States of America, won the war in World War II. But this is not a war at the moment in a world war. This is a war currently in Darlington to see who the best drivers are going to finish across there. So you never give up. That's the key. And these drivers never giving up, as Eddie's got to try to steal that P2. Eddie knows, I'm out of time. I'm out of time. If I don't get past Patrick, there's no chance of catching Brennan right now with 10 to go.
Yeah, and really, I would say there's still no chance of catching Brendan if he doesn't get by Patrick. He's over 2 seconds behind with 10 laps left. He's going to need a caution if he wants a chance at the race win tonight. Eddie Smith, the 87 machine, kind of trying to pick his moment to get by Patrick. He's not forcing here. Just kind of following him through the corners at this point in time. But here's might be his opportunity. Patrick makes a mistake on the exit of 4. Now Eddie Smith to the inside here. 1 and 2. Caution is out. We're going to get a late race restart.
There's Patrick at the moment. One of Patrick's happy about that one or not. Brandon is not going to like that one at all, will he? Because Brandon's like, I had this one in the bag. I had this one. And now we're going to stack everybody back up again. And here we go. And I think the accident was caused, give or take, by maybe the 25 machine. Yep, there it is. Colton.
Yeah, that'd be Colton Langford, I believe. Yep. Hits the fence on the outside, comes down, hits the inside wall. We've seen this one before. Kyle Westby, what a
big
hit.
wreck.
That car get
That's it.
airborne.
There's nowhere for the 53 to go on that one as well. It's awful.
Yep, that's Brandon Barrier. Just nowhere to go. But that hit that 25 took was massive, considering it lifted the car off the ground. I kind of want to go inside the cockpit there of the 25 and watch it. Like,
you're gonna bring his bad memories up? You really want to do that to the poor man? Fine, we'll do it.
Unfortunately, but this will be an amazing replay. Just a hard hit, and he's still kind of safe. You see the revs are going up still. He's still on the throttle.
Explain how bad it is to wreck like this, my friend.
I mean, it is an immense hit, right? We talk about the sim world. Yes, it's one thing. It's on the apron there. Car shoots the track. No grip in the front. That is a massive hit. We've seen hits like that, injured drivers before, including, Kurt Busch, Denny Hamlin, all at Pocono and Fontana, different tracks. But we've seen wrecks like that cause significant damage to drivers in the past with backs, broken concussions, so on. So thankfully, in the virtual world where none of those serious injuries exist, Dean. But that is a massive hit either way.
Yes, that's why we love the virtual world, of course. The only thing that's really going to injure you is probably your force feedback steering wheel and direct drive steering wheel and stuff like that, or your direct drive pedals. That might give you a cramp in your foot there, or even break a. I think there's actually some drivers that have actually sprained their wrists and things like that. But that's a lot better than visiting a medical center and serious conditions being pulled out of a car, or fires, of course, even worse. That you don't have to worry about in iRacing. But it's an opportunity for some of these drivers going back in a pit road. Some of them, unfortunately, maybe too much damage to duct tape up at this late part of our 10th caution. But once again, I think it will come down to Mr. Brandon Evans and thinking, well, I have to do it all over again. Eddie Smith, remember, powerhouse slicing through that field. Not doing too bad. Back up in the pit here. Remember, these drivers started
Much
P1,
fresher
P2.
tires, though.
And on fresher tires. I'll show that graphic
Yeah,
for
but
you
much
as well.
fresher tires for Eddie Smith and Steve Tucker, both on about 15, call it 13 lap fresher tires in the race leader, Brandon Evans. Yes, a lot of it was under yellow, though, so how much of that advantage does exist, we have yet to see. But late race restart, I'm surprised we didn't see more drivers up front pit. We know that track position is extremely important. So is fresh tires, especially at this track. What Patrick saying and talking with him of how slippery the track is. It feels like on ice after 8 or 9 laps. So surprised we didn't see more drivers take the opportunity, come down pit road, get 4 fresh good years here. But now we're going to see a late race restart. We'll be restarting probably with about 4 to go. We're still not double file yet, still single file here on the track. So go green about another minute. Probably have time for a quick commercial break. And then we'll be back for the finish of round number 3 at Darlington Raceway in the Cruising Classics Next Gen Series. And we're back here live, round number 3 in the Cruising Classics Next Gen Series, getting the field ready to go racing here. It'll be 4 laps to go when we go green here. Currently 5 to go here. Lap 95 of 100. And we're looking throughout the field. First driver on fresh tires. That's back in the 11th position. Bryson Myers just pit on lap number 93. Jamie Barkis, Scott Formosa, and more also. They're back in the 11th spot. Only 4 laps to go. Can they slice through the field fast enough to chase down your leader, Brandon Evans, who last pit on lap 54? I don't know, Dean. I don't think it's enough time unless we get a couple of yellows and there's a couple cars wiped out in between them.
This is going to be all important, the race launch here between the 37 and the 87. I think Brandon and Eddie could win this one. Steve Tucker, of course, is in the mix there. But Patrick on those old boots, that's going to be tough there. Don't take away from Jake. He's won races before. Chris, we forgot about him. He's lurking in the background. He's gained 14 positions. Just behind him is Body. But here we go. 5 laps to go. It's the sprint to the end here for the Darlington Raceway for the Cruising Classics.
Brandon Evans looking for the Geico restart zone. He sees it. He hits the gas. Barney the Flagman waves the green. We're going to have 4 laps remaining. Not a good restart for Eddie Smith. That's going to help Patrick Drabick to his inside in 1 and 2. Evans gets a big jump. He's clear. Call it almost half a second already. Eddie Smith's going to try and get some help from Steve Tucker around the outside. Smith clears Drabick off of 2. They're going to go try to chase down the leader. A couple cars in the wall in the back of the pack. That's Bobby Germain. He's going to go down onto the back straightaway, hit the inside fence. But right now, the battle's back up front. Can Eddie Smith chase down Brandon Evans? Another driver in the wall. That's Chris Sawyer. He pounds the fence in 3 and 4. Now you got ducks in a row. Can Eddie Smith close that gap on Brandon Evans? He has 3 laps to do it. It's no holds bar now, Dean.
I'm thinking not too bad for Patrick holding in on as well on those boots. Let's see how it all pans out there. Steve Tucker has to apply the pressure knowing he has better. A couple other drivers going a little bit. There's Bobby going, I think, a little bit into the pit road, actually. A late pit cop. So he cannot deal with that vehicle right now. It is dinged up as much as you possibly can. But there it is! Oh, that's Chris at 21 on the inside 8 fence. They're going to call it green, of course. We're still green to go. Brad is going to hold on. car at the moment. Eddie in P2. Eddie, big power slide out of the corner. He still has enough time from Patrick in P3, but Steve Tucker's right down his tailpipe.
Steve Tucker bumps Patrick Drabick here in 3 and 4. Bryson Myers is going to close the gap. They're going to battle side by side for the 4th position. Drabick blocks Tucker. He's going to try and block Myers. We get the white flag. Brandon Evans has a big lead. Call it 0.8 of a second over Eddie Smith. He should run away with this one. But right now, the best battle on the tracks for that 3rd position. Drabick gets into Myers. Tucker's going to split up 3 wide here through 1 and 2. He's going to clear him off of 2. He hits the wall. Myers going to get a run down the inside. He looks to the outside. Battle back up front. Brandon Evans is going to win. Oh, Myers in the back of Tucker here in 3 and 4. He'll try to do it again, but Brandon Evans will win at Darlington here. Eddie Smith 2nd. 3rd place will be Bryson Myers, and a stormer getting by Steve Tucker in 3 and 4. I mean, what a last lap. I know we didn't show as much of the leader on that last lap, but ladies and gentlemen, he had taken off. But the action for 3rd place, Dean, was absolutely insane.
Yeah, Brennan's happy about that one, actually. If anything, a driver that's in leading the race, he doesn't mind. He's like, I don't care what happens in my mirrors. I'll watch it back later, of course, in the replay. He just wants to win the race, and he has won the race. But what happened behind him, of course, is something he's going to be interested with. But at the moment, the man needs to do some burnouts, and why not, Brandon? You've won the Darlington Raceway race.
And this is a track that every driver wants to win, and it means so much more when you win at a track that's as hard as Darlington, as difficult as Darlington, especially when you're racing against a super competitive field. We're going to look at your final results. Brandon Evans finishes 1st, Eddie Smith 2nd, Bryson Myers 3rd, 4th will be Steve Tucker. Patrick Drabick will hold on to a top 5. He'll finish 5th. Then looking throughout the rest of the field, Bartholomew, Formosa, Jake Ellingson rebounds after an early wreck. He'll finish 8th. John Anthony 9th. Khaled Marshall 10th. Patrick Drabick also will end up being your biggest mover tonight, +9, finishing in the 5th spot. Looking outside the top 10, Jamie Barkas will finish 11th. He kind of had a little bit of an issue late on that last restart. Joe Hobbs, Dustin Hardy, Chris Sawyer, Bobby Germain round out your top 15. Beyond that, you have Colton Langford, Kyle Westby, George Jewell, Brandon Barrier, Tanner Bethea in your top 20. All these drivers finishing multiple laps down due to wrecks, internet issues, so on and so forth, with Robert Barber and Doug Ellingson rounding out your field. But Brandon Evans gets the win tonight. Huge for him. We'll talk with your race winner first. When we come back from a quick commercial break, we'll talk with your race winner and then the rest of your top 3 for interviews.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn. It's a new day, it's a new life. And I'm feeling good.
Are you ready?
For Murph's Magical Creations. Home to custom laser engraving and gifts. This veteran-owned and operated company engraves for all occasions. If you want one of Murph's magical creations, call the number on your screen or commission through either Instagram or via email. Murph's Magical Creations, made with love for you.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to look at the final lap between Bryson Myers and Steve Tucker. But first, we're going to talk to your race winner. That's Brandon Evans here in the NASA 360 Racing Network broadcast booth. Brandon Evans, you pull off the win. You were the fastest in practice, sat the car on pole, led the first 45 laps, took a pit strategy call, got involved in a wreck. Thankfully, that fast repair was available to you to use. You go out and you win the race here, a dominating performance late, despite some drivers having fresher tires behind you. What does it feel like to get your first win on the season?
Yeah, especially at a track that I've needed redemption at from last year. Led a bunch of laps in last season's race, so I basically there was blood in the water for this one for me. I I said it before the race. I was like, I'm going for it. This is gonna be it. Um, so it's always good to win at this racetrack. The pit strategy there, that's always a risk, right? You know, pitting and being the only one. I expected everybody else to pit, but you know, I did that knowing like, okay, well, at least I know I can make it. So if it did go green, I could make it on fuel, just save a little bit of fuel and get after it. But you know, it's just one of those things. A lot of cautions. I hate that. There's a lot of good drivers out here, but you know, Darlington's tough. Um, so happy that I was able to hold them off with a little bit older tires. But that's just kind of the product of it when you're restarting on the in P1. You know, you just got to dig, and was happy to come away with it.
You mentioned how much it means to win at a track that's so challenging, the Too Tough to Tame Raceway in South Carolina. Just the history at this track, and you said it was a redemption race for you, but even if it wasn't a redemption race, doesn't it just feel a little bit more special to win at a racetrack such as Darlington?
Yeah, it's a hard track. I mean, you really do have to just race the racetrack the whole time. Um, you know, 1 and 2 is a great example. If you don't nail the entry of one, and if you don't nail the exit of two, you know, you're going to end up wrecked or wreck somebody else or whatever. You know, so it's hard to race this racetrack and race other people. You know, I have to say I didn't race very many cars tonight, but the ones that I did, you know, it's so challenging. I mean, you just don't know what's going to happen in front of you. You don't know if they're going to get loose. I'm not sure what happened with the incident. If he hit the apron too hard and just, or we got together, or just a real estate thing. But you know, yeah, it's definitely a difficult racetrack. And then of course the ends are not the same at all. Um, so just a completely different approach. You know, you're shifting in one corner and you're not shifting in the other. So it's definitely a challenge. It feels great to win at Darlington anytime.
Well, Dean, I'll let you ask any questions you have for our race winner, Brandon.
Oh, I don't. Hey, I haven't think for you, Brandon. You did everything you needed to do, my friend. Put that 39 machine on pole and done it for the premium setup machines. Yeah. And the last question I really want to ask you, apart from congratulations, is you want to thank any sponsors?
Yeah, I would thank Cruisin' Classics, Jam Printing and Promotion, Veterans for Life Foundation, Right Now Roofing, Redbeard Design Company, and you guys at Nazara. Also want to thank Premier Racing Setups. Happy to be a partner with them. I build the next gen car for their A Open program. So it's always great. Also want to thank Harpoon Designs for building me a cool paint scheme. Thanks, guys.
We appreciate you taking the time talking with us again. Congratulations on being the Triple Crown winner. Fastest in practice, sets it on pole, wins the race, also led the most laps. So really, you could call it a quadruple crown winner. But again, congratulations, Brandon, on your first win of the season. Looking forward to more big things out of you this year. Hopefully you can tie that 8-win season you had last year. Again, wishing you the best rest of the way. And just amazing talking with Brandon Evans, that 39 machine there, your race winner. But now we're going to move over to the second place driver of Eddie Smith in that 87 machine. Eddie joining us here now in the NASR 360 Racing Network broadcast booth. You finished second here tonight. You ran in the top five most of the night when pitch strategy didn't put you back in the field, but you get involved in an accident relatively late with Steve Tucker. Kind of talk us through that incident that kind of was a setback in your race plan.
Yeah, we were really trying to get back up to the field after that pit strategy, and it was there was a lot of different strategies there, so we were all kind of bottled up there. So I don't really know. I forgot to even go back and look at it, but I would imagine that we just pushed up in there and made a little bit of contact. I don't feel like I pushed him all the way up to the wall, so I'm not really sure what exactly happened. But I know that once we made contact, I was just out of control and ended up slamming back up into him. But yeah, so sorry about that, Steve. But I mean, we both kind of rebounded, so it didn't hurt us too bad. We were able to kind of fight back up through all the traffic and try to avoid the rest of the mess.
Yeah, you talk about you were both able to rebound. Steve Tucker obviously finishing fourth here. But I want to talk to you about, and we're looking back now, it looks like I believe the incident Bryson Myers to the inside of Bobby Germain, who different pitch strategy, obviously you caught up on. Kind of want to talk though about those last few laps, I saw you really trying hard, but this track is just so slick, so difficult to run sometimes. Saw you really sideways off of 2 multiple times. Can you just kind of give the viewers an idea of how difficult these cars were to drive tonight? And was there really anything you could have done to catch Brandon given the few amount of laps left?
No, I wish there wasn't that caution because I felt like I had newer tires in them, so I could maybe work it out a little bit. But yeah, I got around Pat. That felt good to get around him because I knew it was going to be tough to get around him at this track. And honestly, the next gen cars, um, once you get to the exit and everything unloads at the exit of 2, the car just is pretty hard to catch. So you come off the corner, and if you're not careful, it'll just slide out. And I had to 2-foot smash it a couple times in the race to keep from going down to the inside wall, keep it straight. And after I did that, I knew that there was no point in trying to catch him. I had already lit the rears up. There was no point in pushing. It was only going to get worse. So I just kind of settled in there, knowing that I wasn't going to be able to do anything about it. So yeah, I mean, disappointing. I think I could have got up there and maybe raced with him a little bit, but yeah, I'm happy with it. I'm happy after all the stuff that went on, the contact with Steve early, and then the contact with Steve about midway through to be able to come home with the second place. Man, I'm really happy about that part of it. It made a really, what could have been a really bad race into a sort of a good one there at the end.
Yeah, a great race for that number 87 Podium Esports. Ford Dark Horse Mustang that you have there, Eddie. Producer slash co-host Dean, do you have anything for Eddie before we let him go and thank his sponsors?
No, that's it. Let him thank his sponsors, Eddie. Once again, started P2, finished P2. Just a little bit out of grabs there for Brandon, but hey, P2 podium, champagne celebrations.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I want to thank Crusin Classics for sponsoring this series. I mean, just incredible sponsors. They've been around for a long time. Jam Printing and Promotions is the OG sponsor in my mind. I mean, when I think of Goat Locker, it's almost synonymous with Jam Printing and Promotions. Veterans for Life Foundation, Right Now Roofing, Red Beard Design Company, and Nazareth 360 Racing Network. Y'all do such a fantastic job. It's awesome to see y'all's broadcasts and the quality that you guys put out there. So definitely appreciate y'all and all the other sponsors that help out Pat and Jamie for all the work that they do behind the scenes, tirelessly doing all the work so we can come in here and enjoy some good racing. So definitely want to thank them.
Oh, we thank you for talking with us here in the Nazareth 360 broadcasting booth post race. Again, congratulations on the second place finish. Hopefully, continue string of some good finishes next week. But appreciate you taking time to talk with us and wishing you the best of your week here. That's Eddie Smith, driver number 87, podium Ford Mustang, dark horse here, and that's 360 Racing Network for the Cruising Classic Next Gen Series. And now we're going to bring in your third place finisher and the driver who had a very fun last few laps here. And that's the driver of the number 11 Chevy Camaro ZL1, Bryson Myers. Bryson, you had a heck of a battle with Patrick and Steve the last 2 laps. Absolutely entertaining to watch. We could not peel away. We had to peel away just to show Brandon crossing the finish line for the win. But talk about that battle coming down to try and get a podium position.
Yeah, man. I mean, it was just all tight racing, and definitely didn't make any friends that race. First incident with Tanner. I didn't mean for that to happen. I thought it was NASCAR rules, so I was taking it double wide. He just wasn't going the pit road speed limit. But then he tried to blame me for wrecking him, and I apologized multiple times. I was against the wall, couldn't go any lower. I didn't mean to wreck him. After that, somebody else got loose in front of me. That was with like 2 to go. Also apologize to whoever that was. And on the final lap, I mean, I got yelled at and fussed at for that pink and blue car. But again, I don't know. I just say it was a racing deal, really. I mean, we're fighting hard for a podium on the last lap, and he hit the wall coming up in front of me, and I went to take it, and he threw a block, and I gave him a little bit of a bumper in 3 and 4. So I don't know. I just think that's racing, to be honest. But a really good race after that. Again, didn't mean to wreck people like that. Normally don't run like that, but just happy we came out in third. It's gonna give us some good points, and want to thank RNS Race Cars, PRW Chassis, my dad, my brother for making my setup, and just all the people that come out and watch.
Yeah, well, real quick, I'm gonna ask you one more question before you go. I know you say, you know, definitely didn't make any friends tonight, but sometimes you need villains in sports and series. And in my opinion, what happened on the last lap is hard racing for an important position.
Yeah.
Um, Obviously, the other incidents will be dealt with by whoever deals with such incidents in the series. But the battling between you and Steve and Patrick really was as entertaining as you get, and it kind of reminds me personally of the Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson Chicagoland race back, I want to say in 2018.
Yeah.
Um, can you kind of, coming from a driver's perspective and a competitor's perspective and say, hey, last lap, maybe I wasn't proud of things I did earlier in the race, but last lap, that's me, and I'm not going to change who I am because someone was upset about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm an aggressive driver to begin with, but I come in a league and have respect for all these guys. I don't know, I only know a couple people personally, but I'm not gonna come in here and just act a fool. But I mean, last lap, we're fighting hard. I'm gonna throw anything I can to get the highest possible points I'm gonna be able to get. Started with the EOL, and just really happy to fight back in the lead. But just when you're up there racing that hard, final lap, it's just everything's in slow motion, and to be honest, it takes away your focus, and you just got to finish as high as you can.
Well, before we let you go, you mentioned sponsors earlier. Is there anyone else you'd like to thank? And again, congrats on the top three tonight. Looking
Uh,
forward to see what you do next week.
yeah, I just want to thank everybody, all the drivers and everybody, and again, I just didn't mean to wreck anybody, but that's it.
We appreciate you taking time with us, Bryson Myers. That's your third place finisher, Bryson Myers, and that Camaro ZL1 number 11 machine. Look forward to seeing what he does in the future, especially next week. But Dean, as we've wrapped up now our podium interviews, we'll look back at the results, and I kind of want to real quick before we go off the air, look at the schedule remaining so we can see what we got on deck next week for the fans at home. But Dean, I mean, what a battle that last lap for third, fourth, and fifth.
It absolutely was, my friend. I'm not quite sure I can pull that schedule up for you accurately, but you could talk about it,
No
of course,
worries.
to everybody. Yeah. It's all about battling across the line. That's what cautions do. They brought everybody up together there at the moment there. You have to give it to Bryson for getting that job done right on the line there, isn't it? In the last lap, really. You could tell the overtake that I was showing, the slow-mo. But you
Yeah.
got to give it to him. The he was there anyway. He was hovering there the whole race, and if you got to be there, you got to be around that place, as Eddie Smith and Brennan were. Steve Tucker, of course, just missing out a little bit there. Patrick, of course, just missing out a little bit there back, but they still get some crucial points. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. Kenneth as well. I'm really surprised though that he ended up finishing the 73 machine in P6. He was the one that gambled completely on that pit stop strategy that didn't work out, remember, with that incident that occurred. So, still coming back and getting crucial points in the championship, so it's all about.
Yeah, big points line for a lot of drivers. But, like we said, the racing tonight, especially the last lap, is what racing should be, right? They were going for it all, but no one got wrecked. Yes, people got bumped and maybe hit the fence a few times, but all of them were on top of each other. It's a hard track. It's not like someone got spun and they finished 10th or 15th or whatever. They all maintained third, fourth, fifth. So as much as drivers may feel wronged by that, it's not like it was a travesty. But looking forward to next week, we go road course racing. My friend Watkins Glen, a treat to be had. Love the road course in upstate New York. Should be a great time for these drivers. A big change of pace. We've gone from a super speedway to two intermediates to the road course. So next week we'll be in Watkins Glen, and that'll be a great broadcast. And I know you're excited to show your camera work at the road courses.
Oh, I love the road courses, you know that. Because you're going to go left and right. But it's tricky in these machines to go left and right because you've got bumps as well, too. There's chicanes. It's a different beast, and that's what we love to see. So it's been a pleasure sharing the booth with you this evening, Darla.
No, of course, pleasure working with you. Always, Dean. Again, for Dean Hopton, our producer and co-host, my name's Tyler Dimmer. Cruising Classics Next Gen Series, round number 3 from Darlington Raceway concludes. Brandon Evans gets his first win on the season, marks 3 different winners in 3 races, Dean. Great season shaping up. Next week, the drivers take on the lefts and rights of Watkins Glen International Raceway. We'll see you all next time, 8 p.m. next Wednesday, February 7th at Watkins Glen. Thank you and good night.